Welcome to the Unapologetic podcast with Kaitlyn Talamante, hosted by LadyBoss. This is a space where women rise, own their power, and stop playing small. We get real, we get raw, and we get fired up about confidence, health, business, and life. If you're ready to step into who God made you to be and unapologetically live your best life, then girl, you are in the right place. Let's do this.
This is what unapologetic looks like.
This is my era. I'm walking boldly in my purpose. I'm done dimming my light.
I'm done playing small. God didn't create me to blend in. I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. The old me was surviving. The new me is free.
We rise together.
Here's to living life unapologetically. Welcome back to another episode of Unapologetic, the space where we rise together, break free from the boxes we've been shoved into, and own every inch of who we are, boldly, wildly, and without apology. Today's guest is someone I had the absolute honor of learning from recently at her incredible event, Relaunch for a Rich Life. The room was filled with powerhouse women. I mean, like C-suite leaders, entrepreneurs, billionaires, change makers, ladies. And the energy, it was magnetic. And the woman behind it all, a force of nature. Hilary DeCesare is an award-winning peak performance and mindset coach, a 3 times international bestseller author, and the founder of Relaunch company. She has helped women reignite their lives, their business, and their beliefs in themselves using her 3HQ method, aligning your head, heart, and highest self. She's been featured on ABC's The Secret Millionaire, in Forbes, Entrepreneur, USA Today, and more. And today, we are so lucky to have her here with us. So get ready to take notes, because this is going to be one of those episodes you will listen to on repeat. Hilary, welcome to Unapologetic. I am so happy to have you here with us today. How are you doing?
Kaitlyn, I can still see your face as you were at my event. You were right there in the front. You were playing all in. You were introducing yourself to, as you said, not just C like level or billionaires, as you said, or millionaires, the 7, 8, but the people who also are on the rise. And that, I think, is where the magic really happens. It's when you can mix all the different levels of business and put the fact that we are all women first and that we have all of these different things, what I call relaunches happening in our life, both personal and professional, but we have a goal. And that is to literally relaunch and scale ourselves to the next level, but also help people, help others, help those women that are really interested in getting to the next level as well. And we can all rise together. We call it the Relaunch Rise. And I saw you and you were incredible. So I appreciate so much that you were there.
Thank you for having me. It was truly an honor. And you shared I'm pretty sure just about all your frameworks with us, which is like most events give you a little bit of the tea of their frameworks. And 3HQ, 333.
Tune in.
And
the E factor.
E factor is what I was thinking. Okay.
There's still more, girl. I didn't go through all of them, but what I wanted to do, and I think that this is super important, is that for many types of, and I like to call them experiences. Some call them conferences, boring. That is not what I go for. I call them an experience because what I want people to walk away with is, yeah, you have the ability to relaunch yourself from the event and go to that next level, whatever that next level is. I call it a 7+ figure identity. And what is that? It's your future identity, but a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, you've got to get into that future identity, start thinking about it. But your brain isn't wired that way. It's not. It's wired to keep you exactly where you are. And so people get frustrated with, mindset things and they get frustrated with kind of the stagnation that happens, or the feeling of being stuck, or the feeling that they're overwhelmed or underwhelmed. But again, what I had to do was help people realize that in a very short amount of time, 3 days, that they could see it within themselves that they could actually do this. Now, I can't go through everything. I can't go through all the steps, but when you understand, when you have that moment that ignites you, that's like, wait a second, I'm different right now. And on a cellular basis, when you come into the event and when you leave, you are different. And I think we noticed that. I did something crazy at the end where there was a gentleman there from a company called Magpie, and they do assessments and everything. And you saw at the very beginning, the internet was kind of not working. And so we didn't get that, and we were trying to figure out, like, how do we still capture the magic of understanding, did people really get a transformation? And so he put something together and we said, are you okay if I just give the results on stage? We're not going to have time to go through them together. And I'm like, roll the dice, baby. We're going for it. And I think that 9.6%, this is the one I remember. I haven't gone over because we're just literally coming back from the experience, but I think it was like 9.6 or 9.8% of people said it was the best event they'd ever been to. And that just fuels me to sit there and be like, got to do it again.
That is absolutely incredible. I know everyone I interacted with had nothing but good things to say and good takeaways. And the amount of tears, breakthrough tears, not like, oh, woe is me tears, like breakthrough, celebratory, excitement tears and laughs and like that twinkle in their eye. I had goosebumps in so many conversations while
The woman who hadn't danced in 15 years.
yes.
15 years had not
How
danced.
to dance for at the gold carpet.
And we danced and we danced. And so it was wonderful. In fact, I think there was another woman who said she hadn't danced in 5 years. And music is really important for me, as you saw. And I have seen it, the miracles of music throughout my 25 years of coaching. And I've run large organizations. I've been in corporate for over 10 years. And so when I've infused it, there is something that happens. And it's not, there's some people like, I don't like to dance. That's totally fine. But the music can be in your head. And the best part of our brains and our minds and how they work is that your subconscious doesn't know the difference, whether you hear it out loud or whether you think it in your mind. So there was a woman, and I'm just going to say, yes, the billionaire, one of actually, I think there's another one that just crossed the line. And she said, Hillary, you're on stage, you're dancing. I'm sitting and I'm dancing. And it was so beautifully said because I'm like, not all of us are all the same. And so there are different energetic signatures that we all have. And we go through those. And it's not about learning more. It's not about, stuffing it with more like stats and facts and things like that. What it's about is, how do you energetically show up? And you have to learn how to do this. You have to learn that when you go into a room, you either bring that light up, ignite energy, or you pull it down. And you need to make a decision. How are you every time you go onto a show, or every time you're going to go and do something on social, or you're going to create something, or you're going to work with clients? How are you going to show up? During that process, I thought, what if I showed individuals 3 different ways to access a higher level energetically? Because that's where your goals are. That's where your success lies. And that's really where your happiness lies. And so we went through what you mentioned. 3HQ is a framework I've been using for over 20 years. Head, heart, highest self, the headquarters of you. We all have it. This is the best part. We all have it. We all have the ability to tap our intuitive nature. We have the ability to elevate our energy. We just need to understand that you can do it. Yes, you have to practice. It's like if you're going to go, run a 5K or a half marathon, you don't just do it. You have to practice. And so peak performance, which is what I think I'm best known for, is like, how do you become a peak performer in your industry? Like, not, the top 50%. We're talking like the top of the top. How do you really do that? And each and every person, I've seen this with the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that I've worked with, everybody can do it. We just need to understand how.
I love that. And it's like how the billionaire said in connecting your framework, it's not how do you conform? It's not how do you be like Hillary or be like Kaitlyn or be like that billionaire. It's how do you be your highest self authentically for yourself,
Best
right?
version of you.
Yes.
Best version of you. And when you're there. You know when you start to feel energetically at high. You know that, like, there's a quiz that I have, you can find it on the website, the relaunch.com. And it's a energy quiz. And we call it the E factor to really understand where are you? Where are you and where you need to be? Because a lot of times, your energetic signature, we're not all the same. Just like we're not all the same in human design, just like we're not all the same in Myers Briggs Enneagram. We have our own energetic signature. And when you learn it, then when you are operating, I'm asking you, Kaitlyn, okay, when you think back of when you have been the best version of you, your highest self, like what's one situation that you can think of that you're like, oh my God, I loved me then. I loved it. It might have been like, an event. What would that be where you're just like, yeah, I was in my jam, my flow.
I'm going to pull the most recent one. I was in my jam, my flow at Relaunch to a Rich Life. I was like, this is awesome. I was flowing. I was grooving. I was igniting conversations. Like, I,
Okay, so that is so good. Do you remember what your e-signature? Do you remember what it was?
night.
Ignite. Okay, I'm an Ignite too, but it means, and I'm going to just say this. So now she can go to that place, remember how she showed up, remember her level, and when she is energetically rising up, and I have this whole system that's super easy, 2 minutes or less that we can go through, she needs to be able to tap into energetically ignite. That's where she needs to go because that's where her goals are. When you talk about, the laws, universal laws out there, a lot of people think that they're really woo. And I'm like, hold on. Who knew woo could be so good for you? When you tap into that, when you can say, this is where I'm at my best, that's where your like greatest goals are, the ones that are like crazy that you never would even imagine. It's like that's where I take people. I take people to that crazy, Hillary, this is magic. Well, it's not, but if you want to call it that, great.
Sure.
So every time you start thinking about what you're going for, you need to energetically get back to your signature, which means that if you have relaunches that are happening, and I just lost my uncle, my favorite uncle this weekend. And, it was so, it just takes the wind out of you, right? You got a health issue that comes up. You're going through, a relationship situation. And how do you energetically allow yourself to go up to ignite, right? When, my God, you have this situation that just happened. And here's the part that people don't understand, that when you are supposed to be doing something that you got to get done, something at work, something with the family. And by the way, I had a household of people this weekend staying with me. I knew I had to give my uncle the respect. I knew I had to give myself the grace that this is a really, really sad situation for me. So I allowed myself to go there. But then I knew that we had a big event that night. And so what I said was, I'm going to actually use the tune in process. I'm going to elevate myself to ignite, to be there for other family members that were in town, because these situations I'll never get back either. Great example is I have a wedding this coming weekend and then probably the memorial service. Well, you have to decide which one is really going to energetically be the right decision, right? Well, the wedding is a family member energetically. I feel compelled for that because I have this beautiful relationship with my uncle. I know that he's still very much in my presence. But when you can start to really assess this, you allow yourself to go in and out like a roller coaster. You're high, you're low, but it allows you to be present for those moments that you want to also remember and not have it just wipe you out. I used it when my mom was dealing with cancer. I used it when I had melanoma. I used it when I was going through a divorce. I mean, there are times where it's like life sucks. Yeah, that's relaunch. It's going to happen and you don't know, what's coming around the corner, unfortunately. But it gives you an opportunity to not be on the couch, on the bed, not being able to move on with life too, because as we all know, life is going to keep going. It will. And so it allows you to tap. It taps for, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, couple hours. And then it gives you the freedom to be like, yeah. And by the way, I got home from the event and I bawled like a little baby. I was like, I needed to have that release. And so I want everyone to know that it's not about ignoring the relaunches that are happening. It's about rising up to what is also going on in your life.
That is so powerful because I've this year alone, I know for me specifically, there's been a lot of ups and downs and a lot of things that have been emotionally hard. And it's hard to get out of those funks. Like, how can you show up and be present where you need to be and still reaching those goals and being able to turn it on and off and like the anxiety that comes along with it. And so being able to channel that so you can show up in those moments you need to is so powerful. And I'm
Well, it's
assuming
an
you're
out.
talking specifically about like tuning in, right? Your tune in method?
Yeah. And tune in, it's about being able to check where you are. Check and awareness, I think, is probably one of the most critical elements of relaunch and being able to elevate to those highest of high levels. And so when you think of 3HQ and you think of your head, your heart, your highest self, it's a big concept. I admit it's a big one. And, it takes time to really fully embrace it. So I thought, you know what? After I wrote my first book, Relaunch, Spark Your Heart to Ignite Your Life, 3HQ is all in there. It walks you through a lot of the details around it. But people were like, is there a shortcut? Is there a silver bullet? Is there a magic pill? Come on, give me something. And I thought, you know what? What do I do? What do I do to get myself elevated quickly? And I started to think about it and I started to like notice what I do. And then I started writing it down. I'm like, oh my God. So I came up with a 4-step called Tune In. The first step is very head based. It's when you think about what is your biggest challenge or what is your intention right now that's going on. Can I just take Kaitlyn? Can I just take you through it? It's easier if we do
Yeah,
this.
let's do it. Let's
Okay.
do that.
So let's just look at what's a challenge that's going on in your business right now or an intention that you're setting around your business. What would that be?
An intention I'm setting around my business is growth, financial growth and stability.
Perfect. And I think a lot of people can really think about this and say, if you're running a business, growth is a necessity, right? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And if your business is a direct reflection of you, we want to be growing. Okay. So that is step one. Literally, you set your challenge, your intention. Okay. You get very clear head based. Then we go into step two. And this is where we change the channel. This is where we click into, and it's got all highest self. It's that best version of you. It's you remembering how you showed up at the Relaunch to a Rich Life event, right? Super. But what we want to do is elevate ourselves right now around growth in your business, because if you already had the growth, it would be at a very high level. But we always want to be improving. We always want to be elevating. We always want to be taking it to the next level. So we need to energetically. And the way we do that is through music. So I want you to come up with a song that when you hear it or think it, it lights you up. Not something that you remember, like, your boyfriend breaking up with you, but you still love the song. Like all in, Kaitlyn, what would that be?
I think it's called Just Like Fire by Pink.
Okay, just like fire. Just like fire. And neuroscience says And I've been studying neuroscience for 15 years, psychology. I have a degree in it, all of this. Neuroscience says you must hear it either in the external world or internally for at least 20 seconds. 20 seconds, you move your body, you're changing your state head to toe. So I want you to right now think of the song, okay? You got pink in your mind. You are going through it, move your body literally, and 20 seconds to reshape your whole bio, everything inside of you, all right? How you feeling right now? We
Feeling
good?
good. Yes.
Smiling. Okay.
My cheeks from smiling.
Yep,
Jam.
this is it. Okay, so we're jamming out. And now, again, that's step 2. We now go to step 3, and this is one of the best parts. This is where you tune in to your heart. This is where you now have already achieved having that massive growth. If we had more time, I would have gotten you to really nail the clarity around what that growth really looks like. And you see yourself and you are on stage and you are wearing something. What color are you wearing?
I'm wearing glitter.
Okay.
Sequins. And it's
Glitter sequence. It's like it's off the charts. You're 10xing that. What emotion. You got pink going in the background. It's like coming through in this massive auditorium. And what are you feeling right now? Tune back into your song because that's what you're hearing.
massive amounts of gratitude.
I want you to 10x the gratitude. And here's the best part. People in the audience are looking at you saying, Kaitlyn, tell me how you did it. How did you do this massive growth? Oh my God. Everybody is like, I want to have more of that. I want more of Kaitlyn. And it is like one of the greatest experiences. You're the star, you're the producer, you're the director of this mini movie. Everything in your brain right now, because we're leveraging the 5 senses, everything is lighting up. All right. So now we go to step 4. And step 4, you hear the song again. And this is where we go back to the head. And the head is saying, what's next? Action step. And we call it a micro pop because a lot of these little pops create your path to success. So when you think about growth, when you think about what you're going for, and you're listening to your song, and what would a micro pop, the smallest to smallest things be that you could go do right when we're done? It could be a text. It could be a post. It could be an outline. It could be an email. It could be whatever you're feeling. What would that look like to you right now? What would be a micro pop that would allow you to get to that mini movie faster?
Cleaning my schedule so I get out of the weeds of the business so I can work on the business.
Okay. I'm going to take you one step further. What would that look like in the smallest micro pop? Go even smaller because looking at your calendar and taking that could be like, it could take a while. What
Yes.
would be even smaller than that? In the same line.
We're going to take off of my calendar right away, copy outlines and
Okay.
deliver your team.
Did you just hear that? You went from, I'm going to change my entire calendar to now I'm just going to take the copy off. I'm just taking this off. I'm going to be delegating. That's a totally different conversation we talk about another day. But this is what I'm talking about. What if, Kaitlyn, you tuned in once a day for 5 days and you did something around growth? What would happen if you did 3 times a day? And again, you get like 2 minutes to do this. You would be done with 15 micro pops to get to your growth. And the best part is that that micro pop where you're asking the subconscious, your wise woman above you, what you should be doing, because you're operating at a higher level, your questions are getting back better answers. They're the answers that you really need to be doing. You know them. We're just not giving ourselves the time. So you, Kaitlyn, can be doing this, but you could also do it as I did when I showed up for your show, Unapologetic. You could also, as I did, I come on, and before I did it, a couple minutes before, I'm like, what's my challenge or intention? My challenge or intention was, you know what? I want this to resonate with your audience. I want them to be thinking like, I need to try this. I need to do this. And so that was the intention, step 1. Step 2, I actually listened to This Girl Is on Fire. I listened to it because it happened to be like on my phone right at this time as I was walking into my office, played it for 20 seconds. I'm like, yeah, my step 3, which is the mini movie. I'm seeing you light up. I'm seeing you say, give me more, tell me more about tune in. And then step 4 was I entered in. I entered into the studio room. I entered into where we are right now. That is the easiest form right there. I did it in less than 2 minutes. You have no idea what was going on right before. And again, in full transparency, I actually sent a voice memo to my cousin. And so I was a little bit like that moment, that the sadness. And I tuned in and all of a sudden we started. This is where I am now. I'm elevated to this highest level because I know, all right, and you heard me say, timing wise, how much? Because I always like to say, this is how much time you're going to give this because you don't have elevated energy for long periods of time. So you might need to tune in again, right? I know myself because I've been doing tune in forever, ever and ever. I use it 10 to 20 times a day. But I also know that sometimes I'll feel myself kind of slipping. I'll be like, whoa, 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 we got to elevate. We got to ignite this right now. And I'll tune in, even just on my own right now. As I said about my cousin, I felt a little dip. So I'm like thinking about what that intention was, thinking about my song, This Girl's on Fire. You might even see me once in a while. I kind of move my body. I'm doing it. I'm moving. I'm listening and I'm elevating myself.
I love it. Someone at your event said on stage that even when I'm in a tough conversation, I'm able to keep my composure. Like I'm the level-headed one where like most people would pop off or have an issue or like snap back at an employee, and I'm very level-headed. And I feel like that's exactly the method they're using as they're tuning in. They're like, I'm not going to get caught in the emotional piece of this. I'm going to be rational because I'm going to tune in and be able to have those micro pops of how does this need to be handled.
Think about people who trigger you. Think about situations that trigger you. And every time you blow up, you blow the fuse, you say something that you regret, you're giving away your personal power. You're literally saying, you're more important than I am right now. And as soon as you do that, you actually go to a lower level energetically. And when you're at a low level, what are you attracting? Low level. So, yes, there were numerous situations where people say, I use it when my kids, right?
Mhm.
Hey, the kids that, oil and what is it? Oil and vinegar, right? It's like, and what do you have to do? You have to tune in. So a lot of times people will tune in before they have a conversation, or they'll quietly leave and come back and use the restroom and tune in. Or they're about to have a conversation with their husband or their business partner, or they're going and they're starting to have a new relationship with a new sponsor, vendor, partner. And they're like, how do I get the most out of this? There's something fascinating that explains all of this scientifically. And it's called mirror neurons. And we have these, and it's the ability, like everyone yawns, right? And what happens? You
Everyone,
yawn. Like
yeah.
we all yawn. Well, here's the thing, things are going on in our head that we're not consciously aware of it, but it's shaping us. And so imagine if you're tuning in energetically at a higher spot, you will help the person with you elevate to a higher level as well. And there's so many ways that I teach this with breath. Like a great example, I get people that, when I'm doing some of my coaching and I can just tell they're off, they're breathing hard, they're like, frazzled. And
Something's going on.
so exactly. So sometimes I'll meet them where they are and I'm like, oh my God, today has just been one of those days, right? It's been a little crazy. And they're like, yeah, it's totally crazy. And then you'll see me do this. Yeah. Notice I just took a big deep breath. Yeah. I'm just so glad we're here right now and we're having the ability to just connect. Like here we are. And then what will happen is incredible. They'll be like, yeah. So I can watch people. I can take them on that wild, wild Disneyland roller coaster ride. I can get them so fired up and then I can bring them down to the flat part. Then I can do the barrel rolls. I mean, And so can you. It's all part of learning these things, and you can change the most toxic relationships, the most toxic environment. Can I tell one more? It just came to
Yes,
me.
yes,
Okay,
please.
as we're going into the holidays here, which is kind of crazy that I just said that, right? But technically we're about to get into Q4. And I had a someone who actually worked for me, and she said, "Oh my God, I'm dreading Thanksgiving. I always get seated next to Uncle fill in the blank, everyone. And I just think it's always a disaster. My mom always, is terrible. It always goes sideways. Thanksgiving is never fun. I'm so not excited about sitting there, about going, like almost to the point where I just wish I could come up with an excuse to not go." So one, she's already wishing. So what is she doing? She's putting on like I'm even willing to get sick. I'm even willing, like it was terrible. My
Yes,
car to
yes,
break
yes,
down.
yes.
Boy, we are not going there. So what we did, we started to tune in and we started to go through the head, which the challenge was like, oh my God, I hate Thanksgiving dinner. To that's the challenge. Then we moved into what's a song? Not a song that you think about at Thanksgiving playing, but like what's a real power song? And she had one. We did that, changing in. Then step three, she started to create this mini movie in her mind where it was like people were laughing, that awful uncle, the mom, everybody, like even the like totally dried out turkey that nobody likes at all was like moist. It was like, oh my God, everything. There were laughing people. There were like, it was just like, and at the end, she heard her mom say, that was the best Thanksgiving we've ever had. Heard her say that. That's what was coming. So she was in this, like, we already had picked out her outfit for the holiday. She was in this, like, forest green. She's there doing everything. Step four was elevating herself to be like, what would make it that, like, one step further? Like, what could she do? And she was like, I could, say, Mom, do you want some help with that turkey? I just found this great new recipe. Could I help set the table? Could I, anything that would get her into that highest level? Even just tuning in was another thing that she was like, I'm just going to tune in again and again. Guess what happened? She calls me the day after Thanksgiving, Friday. She said, like, literally, like, stuttering. She's like, Hilary, like everything that I had envisioned happened, including my mom saying when I walked out, that was the best Thanksgiving we've ever had. Like word for word. And this is not a one-off situation. This is the power of what you can create if you know how to do it.
I love it. That is so crazy. I'm sure she had goosebumps in that moment, like, this is life. This is great Thanksgiving. My mother just said this. I tuned into
She's
that.
like she's like, "I'm never gonna have a bad holiday again." Like, incredible, incredible,
Right?
and
I mean,
this was like a I mean, I think she was 36 years old, and so this had been what she could remember since she was about 5 was this over and over. So everyone who has, that uncle that just is, "No, don't put me next to him again," or that mom or that dad or that sibling, know that you can get through this holiday season. Tune in.
and now I bet every holiday is an amazing one and that one she doesn't take for granted. And she wants to be there now. Like the bigger picture of just that tune in, those micro pops, that so
So
incredible.
imagine what you could do. Imagine all the ways to elevate yourself. Imagine how you could do this with, I don't call it a vision board or a dream board. I call it a believe it board because we supercharge it with tune in and imagine what you can create. Imagine where you could go. And this was just, I mean, this was a fast conversation. And I hope that people do go back and when I ask the questions, answer them from your own. Where are you? What is your biggest challenge or intention right now? And then once Kaitlyn has this now for growth, she uses it over and over. This is her formula for growth success. This tune in. Now, if she had something different, something that, and I always like to try to, classify them into major buckets. Let's say it was a relationship situation. Then what we do is we pick a different song. And then every time she's thinking about the relationship, she's using that tune and song. So I have about 5 core songs that I just can go to right away. You saw me on stage and my go-to, I want to ignite everybody here whenever I go in, igniting. What am I really trying to do? I use I am woman. I mean, it's just like and you heard it. And I even played it because I'm like, woo. And when I was starting to get a little low vibration on stage, because, being on stage for that
Oh,
many hours every day, I would just look at, DJ Kelly J and I'd be like, hit it.
we need a refresh here. Let's tune in.
And we did.
Yeah.
And we did it over and over and over again. And that's why we had that and you notice every time before I had people break apart and go start to talk, we tuned in. Elevate yourself, bring your A game to conversations that are important.
That was one of my favorite parts of the event, was all those moments to be able to tune in so you could recharge before the conversations, before the next speaker, throughout, because those events are hard. I mean, they're
Hard on the audience as much.
they're hard on the audience, about the speak host, Hilary. Oh, I know how it wiped you out, but you, like, as the audience, we couldn't tell. Like, you kept showing up for us and pouring into us, and it's amazing how strong that process is to help with that energy source.
I'm just glad that you took away from that you have the ability to tune in to 3HQ yourself anytime, any stage, any place. I mean, it's like, I think it literally is the peak performance hack that everyone needs to learn.
I have to agree with that for sure. So, Hilary, I know we're kind of running over on time and you've got to get going, but I've got to ask you one last question, if that's okay. So, for the woman who's listening who feels like it's too late for her to relaunch, what's your message to her?
This is where I love what you're doing here, unapologetic. Life is too short. And you have to realize that a relaunch it can happen right now. You might have had something like kind of spark your interest. You're like, you know what? I'm ready right now. We have people that are relaunching 70, 80, 90, saying, you know what? Let's squeeze this dry. Like squeeze it and let's make the most. You came to this event and it was relaunch to a rich life in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships. You deserve to have the best life. So whether it is a relaunch that's going on right now, I got you because I get it. But know that it is possible and it will happen if you decide right now to relaunch and rise. Unapologetically, as Kaitlyn says, like now is the time. Why are you wasting another day not doing what you ultimately want to do, need to do, impact? Like, what are you needing inside? What are you really trying to do before you take that last breath? And let's make it happen.
Oh my goodness, Hilary, thank you so much for pouring into this space today. What
I
you're
loved
doing.
it. I loved it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many links I could give. I'm just going to give one. TheRelaunch.com, www.therelaunch.com. You can find so much greatness there. And then please, please let me know what you thought. Let me know that you're tuned in and go to my Instagram, Hilary DeCesare. And that's where I could say, okay, here's what's next. Here's what's next.
And we'll definitely make sure to check the show notes because we're going to put Relaunch website on there, the energy quiz, and all of Hilary's social.
Thank you, Kaitlyn. Thank you for
Thank
being you and for being unapologetic and showing up. And I can hardly wait to see the growth that you are going to have in this last, quarter of the year. You're going to knock it out of the park. And I'm happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, Hilary. What you are doing is so much more than strategy, and you're really helping women reclaim who they are and what is possible for them. And I know that there are listeners right now that something just clicked for the first time, and that is incredible. So if you are that person, you're feeling that pull, that spark, don't ignore it. Go to the show notes, go follow Hilary, go to Relaunch, take that energy quiz. This is your sign. You don't need more motivation, ladies. You need alignment. And that starts now. This is Unapologetic. And around here, we don't shrink, we rise. And I'll see you next time.
I'm showing up as the woman I was created to be.
I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be real.
One woman's courage gives another permission. I'm done waiting for someday. My time is now. I'm walking in faith, not fear.
God's plan for me is bigger than my fear.
No more hiding who I am. This is the real me, and I'm not apologizing for her.
Thank you for tuning in to the Unapologetic podcast. If today's episode fired you up, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new one. And hey, leave a quick review, or sharing this with a friend helps us reach more women who need this message. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and keep living unapologetically.